Bears fans, buckle up. It's time to talk about what might just be one of the most intriguing matchups on the early season slate: Chicago Bears versus the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. And listen, this isn't just another game. This is the first real test of a brand new era in Chicago. New coach, new coordinator, year 2 of Caleb Williams, and a fan base that's starving for signs of progress. Now, coming off a rough 5-win season, the Bears front office made it crystal clear that standing still wasn't an option. They didn't just tweak things, they flipped the entire coaching structure on its head. Ben Johnson takes the reins as head coach after earning praise as one of the league's brightest defensive minds. Declan Doyle is running the offense on paper, but make no mistake, Johnson's fingerprints are all over the playbook. And defensively, Dennis Allen brings years of experience to a group that showed flashes last year, but lacked consistency. On the other side, the Vikings are entering this season after a massive 13-win campaign, though it ended with a disappointing early playoff exit. They bring back their entire coaching staff, including head coach Kevin O'Connell and coordinators Wes Phillips and Brian Flores. Continuity is a luxury in this league, and the Vikings are betting it pays off. But they've got their own big storyline at quarterback. Sam Darnold is gone, off to Seattle, and in his place comes rookie J.J. McCarthy, untested, unproven, but full of potential. Let's set the stage with a quick glance at last season's numbers. Offensively, the Bears ranked near the bottom, putting up just over 18 points per game. That's 28th in the league. But defensively, not bad at all. They were 13th in scoring defense and 9th in turnover margin. That tells you two things. Caleb Williams protected the ball pretty well, and the defense made plays when it had to. But it also tells you that the offense simply didn't give this team a chance in too many games. Enter the offseason overhaul. The Bears completely rebuilt the interior of their offensive line. Joe Thuney, Drew Dalman, and Jonah Jackson were brought in to solidify the core. And that's before we even mention the draft additions. Colston Loveland and Luther Burden are two names you're going to want to remember. Add in veteran wideout Olamide Zakose, who's been making noise in camp, and you've got a group that looks a whole lot deeper and more dangerous than last year. Defensively, the front office didn't hold back. Grady Jarrett and Dayo Odeyingbo join an interior line that was already respectable. It's not just about stopping the run anymore. It's about creating real pressure and getting opposing quarterbacks uncomfortable early and often. Now let's flip it to Minnesota. This is a team that's used to being in the mix. They put up over 25 points per game last year, top 10 offense. And their defense? Just under 20 points allowed per contest. That's 5th in the league. Add in a top 5 turnover margin, and it's easy to see why they cruised through the regular season before hitting a wall in the postseason. Their offseason wasn't without drama either. Jordan Addison is suspended to start the year, which shakes up their receiver room quite a bit. To compensate, they went out and traded for Adam Thielen, bringing back a familiar face to line up opposite Justin Jefferson. That duo, especially with Jefferson drawing top coverage, can still be lethal. They also acquired running back Jordan Mason to pair with Aaron Jones, giving their ground game a reliable 1-2 punch. And much like the Bears, they focused heavily on rebuilding the trenches. Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, and Willie Fry anchor a refreshed offensive interior. And defensively, they added Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave to an already stacked line. Then there's Isaiah Rodgers, who comes in to be a starting corner, adding speed and experience to the back end. So here we are, two teams with significant changes, different timelines, and very different expectations. For Chicago, this is about proving that the rebuild is heading in the right direction. For Minnesota, it's about showing that they're still contenders, even with a rookie quarterback under center. And speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk matchups. At head coach, the edge has to go to Kevin O'Connell for now. He's one of the top young minds in the league, with a 34-19 regular season record and 2 monster seasons under his belt. Ben Johnson, on the other hand, is stepping onto the sideline as the head coach for the very first time. The hype is real, and his work in the preseason was encouraging, but this is a totally different animal. Primetime, divisional opponent. All eyes on you. We'll see how he handles the pressure. quarterback edge, that's where things swing back toward Chicago. Caleb Williams might not be a superstar yet, but he's no rookie. He's got a full season under his belt, and despite the growing pains, he showed flashes of what made him a #1 pick. His ball security was strong. He learned from his mistakes, and now he's got a better supporting cast. J.J. McCarthy, for all his potential, hasn't taken a single NFL snap. Could he be great? Maybe. But heading into week 1, there's just no way to give him the nod over Caleb. Skill positions? Bears take it. Addison's absence is huge for Minnesota. It removes a top-tier #2 wideout from their arsenal. Meanwhile, Chicago comes in with depth and versatility. DJ Moore, Rome Oduns, Olamide Zakos, and Luther Burden. That's 4 guys who can stretch the field, make plays after the catch, and keep defenses honest. Add in dual tight ends in Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland, and the Bears suddenly look loaded with weapons. Minnesota still has Justin Jefferson, and pairing him with Thielen again brings back memories. But without Addison, that group doesn't have quite the same pop. Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are solid, and TJ Hawkinson is one of the better tight ends in the league. But overall, slight edge to the Bears. Let's move to the trenches, starting with the offensive line. And here, things feel pretty even. The Bears might have the higher ceiling, especially with the improvements made inside, but Minnesota's tackles are rock solid. Christian Darrisaw is an absolute stud at left tackle, far more consistent than Braxton Jones. On the right, Darnell Wright is still developing, while Brian O'Neill brings a veteran presence. If you break it down, Bears probably have the edge inside, Vikings on the outside. Feels like a wash overall. Now, there's no debate. Defensive line. The Vikings have a clear, undeniable advantage here. Jonathan Allen, Hargrave, Redmond in the middle. Then you add edge rushers like Jonathan Greenid, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Dallas Turner, and suddenly you're staring at a rotation that goes 6, 7 deep. They've got game wreckers at every level, and that's before you factor in Brian Flores' blitz-heavy scheme. It's going to be a massive test for Chicago's offensive line and for Caleb Williams to stay poised under pressure. Chicago's defensive line has potential. Grady Jarrett was a great pickup, and Jervin Dexter continues to grow. But questions remain. Can Montez Sweat bounce back? Will Deo Odiingbo finally show he can live up to his contract? And is there enough on the edge to get consistent pressure? Right now, the Vikings are miles ahead in that category. Secondary? That's where things get tricky. If Jalen Johnson is good to go, and we mean fully ready, not on a snap count, then the Bears might just have the better unit overall. Kyler Gordon in the slot, Jaquan Brisker at safety, and the emerging Tariq Stevenson on the outside give Chicago a lot of young talent. But if Johnson is out or limited, suddenly the outside corner spot becomes a real concern. Minnesota still has questions at corner themselves, but with Harrison Smith leading that group from the back end, they've got a stabilizing force. This one might come down to health reports closer to game time. And speaking of special teams, this is where the Bears quietly have an edge. Kicker and punter? Chicago wins both categories based on last season's performance. Cairo Santos has been steady, and Torrey Taylor brings an element of control to the field position battle. Minnesota, meanwhile, may be rolling out a rookie or UDFA returner, and their specialists were average at best last year. So what does that leave us? 2 teams in transition. One trying to rebuild, the other trying to stay afloat with a new quarterback. One head coach making his debut, the other already one of the best young leaders in the league. One quarterback coming off a full rookie season, the other about to take his first snap under the bright lights of Monday night. As we get closer to kickoff, there's one thing that stands out more than anything else. This game is going to be decided in the trenches and in the fine details. Forget the hype. Forget the media narratives. When the ball is kicked off under the Monday night lights, all that matters is who controls the line of scrimmage and who makes fewer mistakes. That's it. And for the Bears, this game could be an early statement, the kind of gritty win that sets the tone for the rest of the year. Let's be real. This is a divisional rivalry, and those always hit differently. Doesn't matter how good or bad either team is on paper. Bears versus Vikings always brings a little extra edge, and this matchup has plenty of it. It's the debut for Ben Johnson, and he's not exactly easing into it. He's jumping straight into prime time, on the road, against a 13-win team with a top-5 defense. That's the definition of trial by fire. But you get the sense that Johnson wouldn't want it any other way. This is a coach that's been praised for his creativity, his ability to adapt, and most importantly, his command of the locker room. Players buy into his system because it's built around them, not around outdated concepts or rigid playbooks. And while this will be his first time with a headset as the top guy, he's not walking into it blind. The way he's structured this offense, the level of communication in training camp, and the preparation heading into week 1 have all pointed to a team that knows exactly what it wants to be. That said, he's going to need Caleb Williams to take a noticeable step forward. Last year, there were flashes. You saw the arm talent, the improvisation, the confidence in big moments. But there were also stretches where the offense stalled, where Caleb looked like a rookie processing things just a beat too slowly. And that's expected. No quarterback walks into the league and dominates from day one, unless your name is Patrick Mahomes. What matters now is what he's learned. Has he cleaned up the footwork? Is he making quicker decisions? Is he trusting the protection? That's what we're going to see from the first snap. And that protection will be tested immediately. Because as good as Chicago's interior line looks on paper, the Vikings are going to throw the kitchen sink at them. Brian Flores is not the type to sit back in coverage and hope you make a mistake. He's going to dial up pressure from every angle. He's going to blitz defensive backs, linebackers, drop ends into coverage, and mix looks like a mad scientist. If Caleb Williams isn't diagnosing that pre-snap, or if the communication up front isn't crisp, it's going to get ugly in a hurry. That's where Joe Thuney and Drew Dalman become absolutely critical. They weren't brought in just because they're good players. They were brought in because they're smart, reliable, and experienced. These are the types of games where veteran leadership on the offensive line pays off. They've got to be the ones calling out protection shifts, recognizing stunts, and keeping Caleb upright long enough for the route concepts to develop. Because make no mistake, Ben Johnson's offense is built to attack defenses vertically and horizontally. But none of that matters if your quarterback is on his back. And speaking of route concepts, the wide receiver room is one of the most exciting groups Chicago has had in years. DJ Moore is the undisputed number one. He's got the speed, the route running, and the toughness to beat both zone and man coverage. But what makes this group different is the depth behind him. Rome Odunze is a rookie, but he plays like a vet, great body control, strong hands, and deceptive acceleration. Luther Burden is a wild card, someone who can line up all over the formation and turn short catches into big gains. And Olamide Zakos? He's quietly had one of the best camps of any skill player. Quick, dependable, and fearless across the middle. But it's not just the receivers. The tight end room is stacked. Cole Kmet continues to develop into a complete tight end, one who can block with authority and still stretch the seam as a pass catcher. And Colston Loveland is the perfect complement. Younger, more athletic, and the type of mismatch nightmare that forces defenses to choose between loading up the box or bracketing tight ends. In the run game, things are a bit murkier. Injuries to Kyle Monangai and Roscon Johnson have clouded the rotation. Neither may be at full strength for this one. And while Khalil Herbert has shown flashes in the past, durability has always been a question mark. Ben Johnson may need to get creative with how he uses backs out of the backfield. Maybe we see more swing passes, more motion, more misdirection to take pressure off the traditional run game. Either way, expect the ground attack to be more about efficiency than volume, especially if the offensive line struggles early. Now, let's look across the field. J.J. McCarthy is a complete unknown. There's no college stat, no combined performance, no preseason drive that can simulate the reality of starting an NFL game on Monday Night Football. The crowd, the pressure, the speed of the game, it's all going to hit him at once. And while he's surrounded by talent, he's also going to be the primary target for a Bears defense that's going to throw everything at him to rattle his confidence early. The Bears defense, while not elite last season, has pieces that can cause problems. Grady Jarrett is a force inside, and Jervin Dexter is coming into his own. If they can collapse the pocket from the inside, it forces McCarthy to the edges, and that's where things get interesting. If Montez Sweat can rediscover his best form, and if Deo Odiingbo plays up to his potential, this defense might be able to get consistent pressure without having to blitz constantly. But here's the thing. Minnesota's offensive line is no joke. Christian Darrisaw is one of the best tackles in the game, and Brian O'Neill still holds his own on the opposite side. The interior isn't quite as proven, but Ryan Kelly is a rock in the middle, and Donovan Ja. The most fascinating aspect of the Worthy acquisition is the sense of timing, because Chicago appears to have moved aggressively while other franchises hesitated. Some insiders claim that teams like the Chiefs and the Dolphins had expressed preliminary interest in Worthy, drawn naturally to his unmatched acceleration, but the Bears moved with unexpected decisiveness. If true, this represents a shift in Chicago's front office approach, which historically has leaned on conservative roster-building strategies rather than bold, headline-grabbing maneuvers. Worthy's presence could also ignite a cultural transformation inside Hallis Hall, as veterans and rookies alike realize the organization is willing to swing for the fences. Whispers say players in the locker room are already energized, discussing how much spacing will open up when defenses are forced to double-team Worthy. With defenders pushed back, the running game may benefit as well, giving Chicago multiple ways to attack and forcing opponents into uncomfortable adjustments. This rumor of a shift towards speed not only generates excitement, but could also signal a broader identity change for a franchise long defined by defense, grit, and tradition rather than explosive offensive fireworks. Beyond the locker room, the fan reaction has been equally compelling, with Chicago supporters embracing the idea that their team might finally be entering a new era. Talk radio shows in the city are reportedly dominated by discussions of how Worthy's arrival could finally give Bears fans the kind of electrifying offensive weapon they have craved for decades. Some callers go as far as comparing this potential offense to legendary speed-driven units like the early 2000s Rams or the modern-day Dolphins, known for stretching defenses until they snap. Others remain cautious, remembering that rumors do not always translate into wins, and that Chicago has broken hearts before with grand promises that fell flat on the field. Still, the underlying emotion seems to be hope mixed with shock, a realization that this franchise could be on the verge of redefining itself. Worthy, who has been described as both fearless and hungry, represents not just a tactical asset, but also a psychological jolt for a fan base desperate for change. Whether or not the hype matches reality, the rumor has already accomplished something vital, making Bears football feel exciting, unpredictable, and nationally relevant again. What remains most uncertain is how the rest of the league will respond if this rumor proves true and the Bears officially unveil an offense built around speed. Some insiders speculate that defensive coordinators will scramble to emphasize zone coverage schemes designed to minimize Worthy's deep threat, while others believe the move will trigger a league-wide arms race for speed, forcing teams to adjust their draft strategies and free agency priorities. Chicago, often perceived as a step behind in the offensive innovation race, could suddenly be at the forefront of a tactical revolution, inspiring others to rethink traditional structures. If this bold gamble pays off, it will not only elevate the Bears from perennial rebuilders to legitimate contenders, but could also cement Worthy as the face of a generational shift. For now, the rumor spreads like wildfire, whispered in locker rooms, debated by analysts, and dissected endlessly by fans online. Until the franchise makes an official announcement, it remains a story caught between speculation and reality. But one thing is clear. The possibility of the fastest offense in NFL history being unleashed in Chicago has already changed the tone of the conversation, both within the city and across the entire league. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video. And when it comes to big plays, the Bears have to limit them. That's the whole blueprint for winning this game. Force Minnesota to earn every yard. No cheap scores. No blown coverages. Make the rookie quarterback beat you with patience, accuracy, and consistency. because odds are he won't be able to do it for 4 quarters straight. Not in his debut. Not under these lights. Special teams could also swing this thing. Cairo Santos and Torrey Taylor are quietly one of the better kicking duos in the NFC. Santos is as steady as they come, and Taylor gives you an edge in the field position battle almost every time he punts. Minnesota, on the other hand, may be rolling with a rookie returner and a kicker who's been shaky at best. One muff punt, one missed kick. That could be the difference in a tight game. And make no mistake, this game is going to be tight. It's going to be ugly at times. There will be penalties, missed assignments, maybe even turnovers that flip the momentum. But that's what makes it great. This is the kind of game where rookies become household names, where coaches earn credibility, where a team begins to find its identity. For the Bears, it's a chance to prove they're more than just a rebuilding team. It's a chance to show that the new culture is working, that the investment in young talent is starting to pay off, and that Caleb Williams is the real deal. It's not about putting up 40 points. It's not about dominating every snap. It's about responding to adversity, staying composed, and finding a way to win when the lights are brightest. For the Vikings, it's a test of structure. They have the continuity, the veterans, the defensive advantage, and the experience. But they also have a quarterback who's never done this before. They're supposed to win this game. They're expected to win this game. And that pressure can be just as heavy as being the underdog. So what's it going to come down to? Coaching decisions, turnover margin, red zone execution. Can the Bears finish drives with touchdowns instead of field goals? Can they convert third downs and stay on schedule? Can the defense get off the field when it matters most? And for Minnesota, can J.J. McCarthy keep his nerves in check? Can he make smart decisions under pressure? Can he protect the football and make the routine plays? That's the real key. Not the highlight throws. Just the smart, steady, drive-sustaining plays that keep the Bears' offense on the sideline. This game might come down to the final possession. It might come down to one missed block, one blown coverage, one clutch kick. And in a game this close, the little things matter more than ever. That's what makes football beautiful. It's not just about talent. It's about execution, preparation, and resilience. So here we are. Bears, Vikings, Monday night. A new era begins, and all eyes will be on Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. Can they rise to the moment? Can they silence the doubters? Can they steal a win on the road and shake up the division from the jump? Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The sports world has been buzzing with speculation, and in Chicago, the whispers have become deafening after reports emerged that the Bears have officially secured wide receiver XAVIER Worthy to join their roster. This move is already being described as nothing short of outrageous, not just because of Worthy's raw speed, but because of the overall offensive identity the Bears seem determined to build. Sources close to the organization suggest that head coach Matt Eberflus and his staff have been quietly planning a shift toward an explosive, speed-driven system, and Worthy's arrival appears to be the final piece of the puzzle. Fans across social media platforms have been sharing clips of his record-setting sprint times and his ability to stretch defenses beyond their breaking point. While nothing has been formally confirmed by the team itself, insiders insist the deal is not only completed, but represents a clear statement of intent. Chicago wants to reinvent itself as the fastest offense in the National Football League, striking fear into defensive coordinators everywhere. If this rumor proves true, it will not only change the outlook of the Bears season, but also reshape how opposing teams approach preparing for them in the months ahead. Speculation does not stop there, as analysts are already debating the ripple effects of this signing and how it could alter the Bears' offensive hierarchy. Justin Fields, who has often faced criticism for inconsistent decision-making, now finds himself in a position where speed around him could unlock previously unseen potential. Imagine Fields dropping back, with defenses forced to cover Worthy streaking downfield, while also accounting for DJ Moore and the dynamic rushing ability of the quarterback himself. It is the kind of nightmare scenario defensive backs dread, because speed stretches the field in ways that no amount of strategy can fully neutralize. According to whispers within league circles, even players from rival teams have privately admitted that facing this new-look Bears squad could prove exhausting. The combination of raw athleticism and a renewed sense of confidence in Chicago makes this rumor one of the most electrifying in recent memory. Though skeptics urge caution, pointing to the Bears' long history of offensive struggles, the tone around the league has shifted dramatically toward intrigue, with many already calling this potential lineup the blueprint